Everybody ready? I know I'm ready. Grab yourself a drink and have a seat. This is going to take a while. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, but I'm assuming it's going to be long and take a while to upload. We've had a ton of DVD pickups recently, and yeah, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you've noticed that 2018, we've probably added more to the media collection than the past couple of years put together, and has been continuing. We did a video a little while ago. A local store of ours that sells lots of retro video games, it's turned into a chain over the years, has been having dollar DVD sales for people that follow the store on Facebook and on the email group and whatever, because they've been overloaded, and every time there's a new generation of consoles, it just takes up more space because they don't phase anything out, and going all the way back to Atari and ColecoVision and things like that. So they've been really trying to get DVDs out there, and they've expanded what they include in this dollar DVD sale to things that used to never be marked down enough to be part of that. Now, some of the stuff that is $7, $8 to $10 has been marked down to $1 if you have that coupon. And they did a second round of it, so on top of what we've been picking up over the past 3 months or so since that last video, we went out and did the other dollar thing, and if it's $1 and it's stuff you want to add to your collection, I mean, you can build your collection and really chop away at your wish list pretty fast when you take advantage of stuff like this. So yeah, this is going to take a while, and I'm very excited. We added some things here that we've just been looking for and haven't found good copies of, because we always buy stuff cheap and used. That's being near new to condition most of the time, and then some things that we have been looking for and just haven't found in any form. So I added a couple more to the Superbit collection, and I'm very happy because I'm building a pretty decent collection of that line pretty quickly. Found Jodie Foster in Panic Room, and very excited about this one, Harrison Ford in Air Force One. And I love this movie because I have so many memories of this movie. I really like Harrison Ford. I enjoy the movie in general, but then I remember seeing this. This is one of the first movies I remember seeing with my dad. He normally went to the movies. He didn't usually come with us, and especially like just me and my dad going and seeing a movie, I can only remember 3 or 4 times that ever happened. And this was the first one he took me to, and it was at a theater that actually is no longer around. So I have a couple of memories. There are 2 different theaters around here that I remember seeing movies in that no longer exist. So that's a double thing, and especially now that my dad's gone, anything attached with him that is a fun memory, I really hold dearly. So I really enjoy that movie. And then we now finally own individually the Ninja Turtles movies on DVD, a brand new sealed copy for, I think it was $1 sale. No, it was less than $1. I think it was Goodwill. But Ninja Turtles 2, so we had 1 and 3, now we have 2 on DVD individually instead of box set or anything like that. The I Love the 80s edition of Pretty in Pink, and this is cool. I really like the I Love the 80s, the little cover thing here. It adds an extra 80s flavor to already very super 80s movies, and then on top of that, it adds music from the movie, a little music CD here. So that's a cool addition to add of that movie. One that I've been wanting to see that I missed in theaters because I just thought it looked really interesting, Don't Breathe, which I liked and didn't like. There were whole sequences throughout this movie and elements of it that I thought were genuinely fantastic and terrifying, but without going into like a full review, there are some story elements here that I thought were less than what they could have been. But overall, I'm very happy to have finally seen this movie and to see it for like less than $1 and have a copy. It's enjoyable enough, and I like the premise very much. A family double feature edition of A Little Princess, which I really, really love that movie, and The Secret Garden, which is okay, and I remember seeing that a lot. So this was, another brand new sealed one we picked up. A lot of these we've picked up for, a quarter to at most $2, most of them around $1 from that sale, and a lot of brand new sealed ones. So Little Princess we had on Laserdisc already. Wanted to grab a DVD copy there. That's a great movie if you've not seen it. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you think you're some macho alpha dude. Little Princess is great. I actually don't like the Shirley Temple one. Get this one. This one's great. Shirley Temple one it's okay, but it's not like gonna hit you in the heart as much as this one. Another edition. My wife always kind of groans and rolls her eyes every time I see a version of this movie that I just don't have, because it seems to be never ending. This is one of my favorite movies to collect, just because all the different versions that have been released, not just different cuts of the movie, but different collections and things like that. There's just so much out there. It's just a fun movie to collect. But the 2-disc special edition of the final cut of Blade Runner on DVD. So of course, I have Blade Runner on DVD, and I also had the final cut on multiple things, but I didn't have this particular version of Blade Runner Final Cut on DVD. So this 2-disc edition here has a very nice slipcover. I really like the addition of that. And then, of course, the movie here. It has the movie, the Final Cut, and then it has on disc 2 the Dangerous Days Making Blade Runner documentary, which is one of my favorite behind-the-scenes making of documentaries for a film. It's definitely up there in like top 10 of any behind-the-scenes featurettes. It's absolutely fantastic. Nothing for me touches, of course, the behind-the-scenes stuff for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, like on the extended edition DVD, the roll out there, like that had that stuff on for like months when it first came out. But this is up there pretty far. It's really good. A bunch of other ones here. I was actually really surprised. Like, this is one of those, they're limited editions or double disc editions and things that are being included in that $1 DVD sale. And Fight Club, which I saw a couple times when it first came out, and this was one of those things where you went around to friends' houses and people just had it on in the background, and I'd also seen it in theaters and things like that, but I actually didn't own a copy. I just had never happened to pick one up. Just a movie I remembered and just hadn't seen lately, but to pick this up for $1 was pretty darn cool, so I was finally able to add it to the collection. And there are a bunch of movies like that throughout the years that I've maybe seen many times and just haven't picked up or to really add to the collection, so this is cool, and it's in pristine shape. I mean, it's really just missing the plastic around it. It's nothing, not a crease or a dent or anything. Perfect for $1. So that was really cool. Amanda picked this up. She's much more into, I guess, like comic booky stuff than I am. I like some things, but she's a little more definitely into stuff like Stan Lee, with Stan Lee's Mutants, Monsters, and Marvels with Kevin Smith. So grab that. That'll be pretty fun to watch together. And another one of those movies that I've seen many times, just didn't own a copy of, From Dusk Till Dawn, the 2-disc Collectors series. One with a twist to where it's not really the movie that you think it's going to be, if you haven't seen it before, from watching a little bit there. So definitely a good one there. Tarantino is one of those directors where he's kind of hit or miss for me. There are a handful of movies that I really, really enjoy. Some that I really don't enjoy, and then some that are kind of in the middle where I like them, but I'm not like over the moon about them. And that's From Dusk Till Dawn is that middle category where I really like it, but it's not like, it's not, to me, like I really like Pulp Fiction. Like, that's a great movie. I love Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill 1 and 2. This is good, and it's fun, and I really like the Robert Rodriguez stylings in here. I think add and really collaborate very well with Tarantino. They work well together. Usually when they come together, it works very well. You also have Elvira's Movie Macabre double feature, a 2 horror pack with Count Dracula's Great Love and Frankenstein's Castle of Freaks. So grab some Elvira stuff here. And I was very happy to see that they both come in their individual DVDs, because every once in a while with this kind of stuff, it's the both on one and super compressed, or it's double-sided DVD, which I hate those. I hate those so much. But I'll take those out here because we have some cool reversible cover art here, but really like Elvira. Just did a VHS pickup of a 3D movie with her. It's just fun. I like the stuff like that, and like Mystery Science Theater and those kind of things. And then another Harrison Ford movie that I have a cool memory with, that's a Firewall. Not as good of a movie as Air Force One. A fun movie, but nothing spectacular. I remember seeing this because I went when I was going around and looking at colleges and things like that. I did take a trip out to LA and was going around that area with my mom, and we actually saw this in Chinese theater. We went and were able to see this, and that was a really cool experience. My wife actually saw a movie premiere there, the Rugrats movie. I didn't get to see a premiere of a movie there and go on the red carpet, but I did get to see a movie in that theater, and that was really cool. And then Catherine Zeta-Jones in Catherine the Great. Can't go wrong with Catherine Zeta-Jones. So, good one there. Get the next stack over here. There, another Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster I really like. She's always been, from a kid on till now, a great actress. Widescreen edition of a movie that I've been very curious about, and I didn't really know what to expect, but it was far better than I expected. I was expecting with the Brave one here, I was expecting a little more of a Charles Bronson flick, and it has elements of that in many ways, a lot of parallels, and it is a revenge flick, but dramatically it is so much better than anything, any like Death Wish movie or anything like that. I was surprised, not at her performance because I knew she was going to be good, but as far as the depth of the writing and just the general direction of this movie, it's not just a typical gory revenge flick. It's really, really good. I really like this one. Actually, after watching this, I added this also onto my Blu-ray wish list to grab. It was really good. I was surprised how much I liked that. We have Alyssa Milano in Embrace of the Vampire. Haven't seen that in ages. Saturday Night Live. There are just a couple of collections that I want for certain people from Saturday Night Live. And not a show I want like a whole decade box sets and things they have for some of those, but there are a couple of people that I'm looking for, like Gilda Radner and things like that. But I was able to knock one of those off with Best of Saturday Night Live, Eddie Murphy. Really like Eddie Murphy, particularly when you're talking about the 80s. I really enjoy Eddie Murphy. And speaking of Eddie Murphy, I have a couple here. I don't know what the other one's in another pile. But Trading Places. Really enjoyed that. I remember about a year or so ago, Amanda had not seen this one, and I happened to be watching it on CED, actually, the other format I have it on right now. Now we have it on DVD. I was watching it on CED, and she walked in like the middle of the movie, and no intention of watching it, and she just sat and watched the whole like second half. She's like, I really like this one. I really like it. And yeah, fantastic movie. Absolutely love it. So glad we grabbed that, and we watched the DVD then together so she could see the whole thing. And another one, it's not complete. Oh, here it is. Harlem Nights. Go in the other direction. This is one of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies, easily like a top 4 or 5. This is not. It's just, I like what it was trying to be. I really like it for what it was attempting to be, but it just didn't pull it off. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's. I still wanted a copy because I love Eddie Murphy from this time period, and again, like I really like what it was trying to do, and like it just could not quite be what it wanted to be. And man, the cast in here is great. If you haven't seen it, give it a shot. For the people that are in it, like just such a great comedic cast, like amazing. This should have been a fantastic, and they did such a good job with some of the set pieces, and some of the time period stuff was done really well. It wasn't all perfect, but it was done well enough to where it really should have helped bring the movie together. And it just, I don't know, it didn't click with me. It's just not a great movie. Just something completely different here. Completely different. Spartacus. I'm Spartacus. So an absolute classic. Definitely looking out for the Criterion Laserdisc. I don't have that yet of this movie, but yeah, something that you should definitely have in your collection, and one that I've seen I don't know how many times, like especially on TV. That was on TV a lot. I feel like Spartacus. I remember even seeing that. I was one summer in Germany with my grandparents and watching that on TV. Like I've seen it so many times. I just didn't have a DVD copy of it here. Collector's edition of Dante's Peak, and you had the resurgence if you're around in the 90s. I can say that now because now there are people that are like in their late teens that weren't even around in the 90s. That's scary to think of. But there was a resurgence of the, you had the 70s, you had all the disaster flicks, and the 90s had like a mild resurgence, and you had like 2 different comet movies the same year, and then 2 different volcano movies in the same summer. And I remember seeing Dante's Peak and Volcano in theaters. I saw both of those. This was so much better. Volcano I just was not super excited about. Dante's Peak, again, is just a standard disaster flick. There's really nothing that exciting in it, but I really think Pierce Brosnan was really trying to really give it more oomph than it actually had. I feel like between him and Linda Hamilton, the two of them were trying to act like they were in an even better movie than they're actually in, and I feel like they kind of pulled it off a little more, and it's just fun and exciting, and that's all you can ask for with one of these disaster movies. You're not asking for a masterpiece, you're looking for something that's just fun. Something like Twister. It's not a fantastic movie, I wouldn't say that, but I really like it. It's just fun. Something like Towering Inferno, it's just a fun time. But yeah, Dante's Peak for me kind of falls in that category with the disaster movies where it's just fun to watch. That's all you can really ask for with that type of movie. Moving on with X-Men First Class, and we're getting down to get most of the X-Men films. I am a much bigger fan of the X-Men movies than the Marvel movies, the whole extended universe thing there. I like a lot of those movies, but I'm not a super big fan of superhero movies in general. Like, there's some that I really like, but I'm not going to go see everyone in theaters and get into the whole thing. But yeah, I do really like X-Men. I've always liked X-Men growing up, so enjoy those. We have Power Rangers, the movie. So we grew up at the right time where we both remember loving Power Rangers in elementary school, and then the movie came out, and that was a huge deal, and I forget if it was Burger King or McDonald's, I think it was McDonald's, with the toys when the movie came out, and I think it was the Yellow Ranger. There was one of the Rangers that I remember I just could not find. We ended up with the whole set between my sister and myself, and I think Amanda had most of them between herself and her younger brother. And I just remember going so many more times out to fast food than we normally would when this movie came out. Just gotta get those Power Rangers figures. Like, it was so cool with the Zords there. And yeah, I loved this movie. And Ivan Ooze and things like that. It's not a great movie by any extent, but if you were the right age, this was the shit. So, glad to have that. This is so stupid, but every once in a while, there's just one of those comedies that you're like, this is so dumb, but I'm laughing my ass off. So we have widescreen collector's edition, Ben Stiller, Zoolander. Zoolander 2, I didn't really laugh much. I was kind of a dud. But the first one, I don't know, it's so dumb, but I really think it's really funny. Yeah, it's just funny. We had to grab this because we had this on VHS and things like that, but we just didn't have a DVD copy. One of my wife's favorite movies, Hook. She absolutely loves this, and this is definitely one of those films that just has a very personal connection for her with her childhood, so it's one of those like absolute must-have movies. Her favorite Robin Williams movie by a long shot. We have, of course, the extended edition box set and a couple, different collections and stuff of the Lord of the Rings, but I wanted a set of the theatrical cut also, just kind of go along with it. And I've just been looking for cheap used copies that are in great shape, so for $1 or less, able to grab the widescreen editions of the Lord of the Rings trilogy on DVD, just because I saw all of them in theaters. I saw the first one once in theaters, Two Towers, 2 to 3 times, I think, Return of the King 3 or 4 times, and I at least wanted to have the just a regular standard DVD set of theatrical cut just to kind of have there with the collection. And then you have Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror with a nice slipcover here, 2-disc special edition here. So again, for $1, that's awesome. The High School Reunion Collection version of Weird Science. So one of my favorite funny 80s movies, just always a good time. Got that. Muppets. Grew up with Muppets and so many Muppet movies in so many formats, but a brand new sealed double feature of Muppets from Space and the Muppets Take Manhattan. I was actually just watching Muppets Take Manhattan on VHS the other day, so really cool to grab that sealed. And The Pebble and the Penguin, 2-disc family fun edition here. Don Bluth stuff is really good. In some cases, I end up liking some of the Don Bluth stuff better than some of the Disney stuff from the same time period. Land Before Time, just amazing. Anastasia, like anything, The Pebble and the Penguin. Don Bluth stuff is great. And a couple of these here, we have a couple editions of John Carpenter's The Thing, Legend, and Tim Curry in this movie is one of the greatest depictions of a devil character ever. It's amazing. This is just an amazing fairy tale in many different ways. Last Starfighter, good special features in this too, if you're a fan of that movie. Great 80s movie. More good 80s stuff. We had Ghostbusters 1 and 2 DVD pack here. Ghostbusters 1, instant classic, still a great recognizable 80s movie. Doesn't matter what age you are. 2's okay. 2 never blew my mind. It was not it didn't have the same energy. It was a fun movie, but didn't have quite the same energy of the first movie, and just didn't get you quite as excited. Grab the next pile over here. One of the other Saturday Night Live collections that we won here, Best of Will Ferrell. My wife loves Will Ferrell. That's one of her favorite comedians for sure. And there's some really good ones in here. Alex Trebek with Jeopardy. That's great. And of course, everyone remembers the Need More Cowbell. Some great stuff in here. So definitely some classic ones there. And some other TV stuff here. We have The Carol Burnett Show, Carol's Favorites, which is nice. It's almost 4 hours worth of content between several different episodes and a bunch of interviews and things like that at the end. So it's a fun one. And we picked up a copy of Supernatural Season 4 The Eric Kripke seasons, 1 through 5, if you cut out the last, 15 to 30 seconds or whatever, the last episode of 5, great series, great ending, very much, a wonderful show that I feel is okay still, but is really been stretched way beyond what it initially should have been. I think in many ways would have been an even better series stopping at season 5. A show that I like much more, but we grabbed 3 seasons right off the bat, for $1 a piece of Angel. A show that I remember it was first coming on as just like a spin-off of Buffy. I thought I wasn't going to like that much, and it's really, really good. Some of the stuff in Angel is fantastic as it goes along. Just amazing show. A great 90s show. I like Buffy a little bit better overall, but Angel is fantastic, and I remember, like I said, being so much better than I thought. I was really excited and really got into both shows, really played off each other and worked really well as a pair, the same way that Xena and Hercules did around the same time. Some more TV stuff here on DVD. We got Misty Love in Palace and The Tale of Romantic Swordman. I'll grab both of those here. That was a pretty cool find in the bin, along with those video CDs. I was able to find those. Some region-free DVD stuff there. Next we have Sarah Michelle Gellar in The Grudge. This is the unrated extended director's cut. And I actually really like this. Normally with this kind of thing, I think it's going to be terrible, but you have the original creators involved, and you also have like Sam Raimi and stuff involved. Like if you have the original Japanese director and Sam Raimi both involved, that as soon as I heard that, I'm like, well, maybe this is going to be better than I thought. And this is good. It doesn't really 100% live up to the Ju-On that it's kind of a remake of, based on kind of thing, but it's still a really good movie, and one that, again, kind of surprised me. It has moments in it that are very much like the original movie, some stuff that's very new, and has some few things that are a little bit of a harken back to some of the Evil Dead stuff. It's good. It's not perfect, but it's good, and I think this is a better cut of the movie, so I was glad to grab that. Dogma is pretty hilarious. That was a funny movie. Dogma. Blood Diamond, widescreen edition, where this I really loved when I saw it in theaters. I thought this was fantastic. This is a great movie, Blood Diamond. Leonardo DiCaprio is really good, Jennifer Connelly. So, there's so many good people in that movie. Sealed copy of True Lies. And another, sealed copy of Breakfast at Tiffany's. So, minus one particular character. This is an absolutely amazing movie. So, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Raul Julia and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Street Fighter. This is a collector's edition. It's so bad, but it's so enjoyable. It's really, really great. Hamming it up big time and really taking the movie away. Fantastic. So that's a fun movie to just kind of enjoy. And finally, I've been looking for these for a while. I just haven't run into the individual volumes. This is the last volume of Arc the Lad. There was an anime series based off the second Arc the Lad game, by far I think the best in that series, even the original trilogy. So glad to finally start being able to grab editions of the anime. I want to grab the rest of that because I'd only seen, I think, 2 random episodes before. So, and I really like those games. That original PS1 trilogy, fantastic. So glad to get that. Adding more to the Studio Ghibli collection, Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind 2 disc. This is one where I was amazed I grabbed this. This was less than $1 from the bargain bin, and we went in and people had picked through so many of the bins there, and the guy had stacks of DVDs. Somehow completely missed this, and it's in perfect shape. Grabbed that, and at the same time also grabbed the Vista series, this big box set thing here of The Sixth Sense. And for me, I think this might be the only Shyamalan movie that I actually like. Moving on with Paul, the unrated edition, saw that in theaters, and this is fantastic. It's my wife's favorite Simon Pegg movie, and one of my top ones there. Top 3, I like Hot Fuzz more, and Shaun of the Dead, but I think this will be my 3rd favorite. That's really good. Collector's edition of Patch Adams. Runaway Bride, something my wife would never ever watch, but I like it. Then she picked up, this is really cool, National Geographic, Beyond the Movie, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. That's pretty cool here, and it actually has On the inside, some cards for the card game and a big little magazine here to try and get you to buy more Lord of the Rings stuff when the movies first started coming out, but that's a pretty interesting find there. And along with that, from the IMAX collection, Mountain Gorilla. That would be really cool. We like getting some interesting documentaries. And Good Will Hunting, widescreen edition here. A sealed special edition of The Craft for $1. I've always liked that movie. This is great, another one of the Mill Creek collection. I have like a whole shelf of Mill Creek stuff. There's some great things in there. It's not always the best quality, but for super cheap, you can get like 50 to 200 movies for like $5 to $10. And here for $1, I was able to grab 200 classic cartoons, 21 hours and 41 minutes. As definitely like amazing. Aside from 60s to 80s Hanna-Barbera, this is the other era of stuff that I really, really like. As far as old cartoons, yeah, Betty Boop, love that. Beep boop. I can't get that high. But yeah. Adding more to the Jackie Chan and martial arts collection, Shaolin, Protect the Temple. A standalone edition of Project A2. Great movies, Project A1 and 2. Fantastic. They're amazing. You gotta watch those. A Jackie Chan 8-film collection. I'm actually adding this back into my collection. I let someone borrow this years ago and never got it back. But yeah, this has... Sadly, they're all the English dubs, but it's still a really good collection of movies, and it's cool to have a different edition. I collect, I can't even tell me how many copies of certain Jackie Chan movies I have. Police Story 1 and 2. I don't even want to know. But it has Police Story 1 and 2, again. Dragon Fist, The Protector, City Hunter, Crime Story, like real variety of Jackie stuff. So this is a kind of cool like introduction if you don't know a lot of the earlier, well, I think more heyday stuff, like 80s, early 90s Jackie Chan. And Battle Creek Brawl, which is a far from imperfect movie, I think is a lot better than people give it credit for. Overall, yeah, just a really cool collection because that's a good variety. Stuff like City Hunter, which is just hilarious and ridiculous. Crime Story, which is a dark and dramatic. Police Story 1 and 2, which are just like prime examples of Jackie Chan. Then we also got from Critic Picks Digital Video, the Bruce Lee, the real Bruce Lee. Interesting little documentary it's documentary / a heck of a lot of just like old footage of Bruce Lee, but it's pretty interesting to have on. A different release of Austin Powers, A Spy Who Shagged Me, with the red case that I did not have, so I wanted to grab this. So I really like this. I can't decide if I like the first one more or this one more. I could they're just tied in my mind. I really like them. Third one doesn't quite live up to the first two, but these are definitely fantastic. I like both of those. And then you have 48 Hours and another 48 Hours. 48 Hours is really good. Another 48 Hours, I don't know, it's kind of an unnecessary sequel, and it tries to live up to the original. Like, it tries to harken back to it a lot and just doesn't quite for me. I've never been a big fan of Another 48 Hours. It's okay. I don't think it's a bad movie, but it's just kind of okay and not really a sequel that needed to happen. The first one is good, 48 Hours to grab. That, and then, oh, here it is. This is what I was looking for when I was talking about Trading Places. Coming to America, the special collector's edition, because Amanda and I were arguing about which is a better movie, Trading Places or Coming to America. But yeah, both are pretty fantastic. This is a great one. This is a movie that got terrible reviews when it came out, but I've never, tell me if you hate this movie, because I've never met anyone that I've talked to about this movie that dislikes this movie. It's weird, like, it has terrible reviews, but I've never met anyone who dislikes this movie. Death to Smoochie. This is so funny. This is just Edward Norton, Danny DeVito, Robin Williams, Rainbow Randolph. Robin Williams as Rainbow Randolph is incredible. Like, he I want another movie just with him and that character. Like, just fantastic. Yeah, that's a funny movie. And then we always have mini seasons of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. As they come out, we usually get those. And then I think this is the only standalone release of an episode. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, A Very Sunny Christmas. You fuck my mom, Santa. Like, this is fantastic. It's such a funny show, and this is such a great episode. You gotta watch this. You gotta watch Rudolph and Frosty the Snowman, and put that on for the kids. Just a great Christmas movie. And last but certainly not least, this is a brilliant movie if you've not seen it. My wife and I grew up both in households that had families obsessed with Star Trek, so we grew up surrounded by Star Trek at all time. And this movie is so good. Galaxy Quest Deluxe Edition on DVD. It's brilliant because it works 100% in two completely different levels. Even if you've never seen an episode of any Star Trek series ever, you know absolutely nothing about it, this 100% works completely as a standalone movie with no association with Star Trek whatsoever. It's still amazing. It's still great comedy, so much fun, just completely on its own. And then it also works as one of the greatest parody/tributes to Star Trek in many of the original series in particular. So it works 100% either way, no matter who you are. If you're just a hardcore Star Trek fan, it works great as that tribute parody movie, and that it also completely stands on its own legs with zero association to be just completely its own thing. 100%. Like this, it's amazing how well it pulls both off simultaneously, where no matter who you are, there's something about it. It's kind of like you don't have to be in on the in-joke to love the joke. But if you are in on the in-joke, there's an extra level of interest in like what it's saying. So it's great in so many ways. Just fantastic movie.